All right, hey there, students. Mr. Kennedy here for your Chapter 5, Lesson 3 video notes on Egypt and Kush. Lesson 3, Egypt's Empire. So, why it matters. The leaders during the Golden Age of Egypt expanded the empire through trade. Although Egypt later declined, it greatly influenced other civilizations. So, remember, although we have our chapter packet out, we might be able to fill in a couple things on grapes here as we're going through these video notes today. So let's take a look first at Egypt's Old Kingdom. So you can see right there that this right here is the Old Kingdom of Egypt. So this is where a lot of the things that you guys might be familiar with already were actually built, like the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids, which are located just outside of Cairo. So you can see right there from the Old Kingdom to the Middle Kingdom that the empire got larger. And the way they did this was through trade and expanding through that way. So from the Old Kingdom to the Middle Kingdom, the empire expanded. And then once again, you can see that it expanded again with the New Kingdom. And so it's really important to remember here that united we stand, divided we fall. So the Egyptians are going to know that when they're united, they're going to stand together and they're able to grow to be larger. But they're also going to remember that their enemies are always watching. All right, bye guys.
Hi guys. Now we're going to talk about the Middle Kingdom. Okay, so here is our map. Middle Kingdom, right? Egypt. Circa 2050 BC, a powerful pharaoh named, oh lordy, here we go, Menahotep. Yay, I got it, Menahotep. The second unified Egypt and started a peaceful rule. This began the Middle Kingdom, a period of order and stability that lasted until 1750 BC. So we are talking about a period of peace and prosperity. So when we have peace and prosperity, we are going to see trade flourishing. We're going to see roads flourishing, and we're going to see the economy thriving. You're also going to see things like arts and crafts and skills growing and flourishing. People are going to have money to spend. Woo-hoo, let's go to the mall, right? Pharaohs no longer built pyramids. They're just not into that. That's so Old Kingdom, okay? Okay, so now I think our period of prosperity and peace is over because we're going to see the decline. That means they're going down, okay? So decline of the Middle Kingdom. At the end of the Middle Kingdom, the pharaohs could not keep the kingdom together. They couldn't do it anymore, guys. They just couldn't hold it together. This led to an invasion from a group from Southwest Asia called the Hyksos. I got another one right. Hyksos. Okay. So, the Hyksos came from Western Asia, rode in chariots. Remember, Sargon and his chariots, they roll. And fought with sturdy weapons. Around 1550 BC, an Egyptian prince named Amos formed an army and drove the Hyksos out of Egypt. So when we're having a decline, okay, before we were united, we were in a period of peace and prosperity. Now we have a decline. So that means what? Who's looking on the outside to see if we're crumbling, if our kingdom is crumbling, okay? Think about that as Miss Hodges talks to you about the next slides, okay? It's declining. We're good?
We're good.
Bye. All right, guys, so now the Middle Kingdom is on the decline, and now the Hyksos have been driven out after they've declined. Now the Hyksos are out. Amos threw them out, and they have a new period that enters, and this kingdom lasts about 500 years. But during this kingdom is going to be some amazing accomplishments. So sit back and enjoy this ride. This is one of my favorites. So this kingdom is going to begin about 550, and it's began by the guy who threw out the Hyksos, Amos. And this is going to be when during this kingdom is going to be
when Egypt is like at its best. We call that at the height of its glory, its peak, its golden age. And it's better than it's ever been. And from here, it's just going to be downhill for them. But this is the good part. They're going to create a super strong military, and they're going to expand trade. And we're going to look at 2 pharaohs that do that. And the first one, girls, it is about time we have a girl leader. So here we go. She is the first leader that we know of that was a female leader. Now, that is not to say that there are not other leaders other places. This is just the first one that we know of. So writing is so important. That's why writing matters. So her name is Hatshepsut. So guys, some memory clues for you here. And remember, guys, I know these are kind of silly, but that's just the way it's going to be. But it'll help you remember that. So Hatshepsut actually has the word she in her name. Look at that, S-H-E. So circle that because this is our first female pharaoh. I will be looking for that and making sure you circle that. First female pharaoh. The other thing that we love about Hatshepsut, there's a good story with her. So her son was supposed to be pharaoh next, but he was a baby. And he was like 4 years old at the time. And he couldn't rule, so she ruled for him. And she loved it so much that she said, hey, I think I'm going to be the ruler all the time. So she didn't let him be the ruler and the new pharaoh. She made herself pharaoh. And if you notice, she even wore the little beard that the guys wear as a sign of power. And she would wear one so people would take her a little more seriously. I would say that it worked because she is successful. So I want you to put some dollar signs right here to increase trade. Hatshepsut increases trade. She expands trade all the way up into the Mediterranean, all the way across to what's modern day Turkey, and then up and down the Nile, all over. So all the trade routes were followed by the merchants, and she made Egypt totally wealthy. Now, his name's Tutmos, when he grows up, he takes his kingdom back, and she mysteriously dies. We don't know what happened to her. She just kind of disappeared. We don't have any clue what happened, but her name was scratched off all the temples and all the monuments that she had made for herself. They were like chiseled off her, so her name's gone. So that's a history mystery, and they're everywhere. Maybe he killed her. Maybe he didn't. So I guess he probably did. But we don't know for sure. So there's one of history's mysteries for you. So the next guy we want to talk about, next pharaoh, is Ramses. And this is Ramses the Great. And remember, we said not a lot of people get the name great in history. So here's why he's great. Because Hatshepsut was so good at shopping and trading, of course, she made Egypt so wealthy that allowed Ramses to have a standing army and to have a strong standing army. One thing I think we didn't mention when the Hyksos came in, they're Sargon's relatives. That was who's in their past. And remember Sargon and his chariots. Oh, Miss Tickle did say that. I do remember. So this guy took that and made it just amazing. He took their technology and he borrowed that through cultural diffusion. That's what we call that. And made his army even better. So Ramses the Great is known for being a builder and a warrior. So I want you, because he's such a builder, but you know what? He did not build pyramids like we typically think. He built roads and he built temples. He did build some temples, but he built roads and he built infrastructure. He built waterways. He increased canals. He built an army. He got a navy started. They have a small working navy now. He still kept trading. He still wanted trade to come in, but he built everywhere, all over. So many of the ruins that we see, whoa, snap, come back there, are builders. He leads a fight against the Hittites, which are up in Syria. Again, this is Sargon's relatives, a group from Asia Minor, and eventually he becomes allies with them. They say, you know what, they fought forever. And they finally said, you know what, let's just stop fighting. If we'll trade with each other, we can make more money. And this fighting is getting old. So literally, that is exactly what happened. They decided that they had been fighting long enough. They didn't want to fight anymore. And it's one of the first peace treaties that we see. They agree to stop fighting and to work together with each other. So turns out to be a good thing. So not only is he Ramses the Great for being a great warrior and a great builder, he was also a great statesman. And we say a statesman is somebody who can negotiate treaties and make peace between people. So that's why he gets the title, the Great. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Let's see if I can erase that little thing right there. There we go. Okay, guys. So eventually, Egypt's going to lose her power. She's not going to be as strong as she was. So, but the cool thing about Egypt is it's still there today. Even though it's not as strong as it used to be, it's still there. Egypt survived many invasions, eventually lost power to people like the Greeks and the Romans. And actually, the Cleopatra that you know is going to be the last Ptolemy pharaoh. And that's the one you've heard of with Julius Caesar. A lot of you have heard about her. But that's not for a long, long time, like 500, no, maybe 400 BC, I think. Maybe. No, that's not right. I'll look that up. Y'all ask me later. I'll know that. Date for sure. Hold on, I'll tell you. I was close, 332. I wasn't too bad, 332 BC. So there's that. So here's your hot question. How do the phrases united we stand, divided we fall, and your enemies are always watching apply to these ancient rulers of Egypt? So there's two questions there. Answer both parts. Now, this is where last time you all had to do was bullet points. We are back to the original rules for answering a hot question. We're back to 3 to 5 sentences, and this is going to be at least 4 because you got to say why and then give an example of how. You can say how this applies to your life. Try to use vocabulary words. Import, export, you should definitely use that for Hatshepsut. Look back at your word wall, see what you can find. I've got the word wall behind me. Trade networks and dynasties. There's a lot of stuff you can bring in there. So how does the phrase united we stand, divided we fall apply to the rulers that we talked about, the pharaohs, and your enemies are always watching? All right, so they're always watching and they want your stuff. Got to watch out for the enemies. No enemies. Just friends. No enemies. Okay, bye. See ya. Can't wait to see your answer.